We're going to be discussing new bedbug biological control pesticide, Aprehend, all on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, here every week discussing all things pest. Hey, we're going to be discussing a new biological pesticide to control bed bugs. Hey, don't forget, join us on our Facebook group and Pest Geek Podcast listeners group. Join us on Facebook, Pest Geek Podcast, and then also on the web, pestgeekpodcast.com, and on YouTube. Look for Pest Geek Podcast on YouTube. That's right, folks. We're everywhere. We're geeking out all over the place. And on this edition of Harry Says, and he said, make friends who force you to level up. And now check out this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. This is probably the most exciting thing that's happened in pest control for some people since the B&G. I probably would say that. And what we're looking at is a product that is potentially a game changer for the entire industry. It's going to be, if it works the way they're claiming it works in the research, it's going to be the most disruptive product ever brought on the market. And people are going to have to brace themselves, because this thing is going to it's going to wreak havoc in the pest control industry. And I'm going to explain to you why. The biggest challenge that we have in controlling bed bugs is really an issue of the cost of doing bed bug work is the time that it takes to do it right. That's our big limit. Not whether we can effectively control it. We can effectively control bed bugs pretty much anywhere. This whole idea that, hey, yes, there is resistance to pyrethroids. But pyrethroids aren't the only thing. You can't solve a bed bug problem with a simple baseboard spray, which is what some people in this industry are doing. The amount of time that it takes to do bed bug work is the prepping, the inspection, the what it takes to take apart that room and treat every inch of that room. Whether you're doing, the cost of what it costs to do bed bug work, it's no different than if you used the Rutgers method of steam, vacuum, crack and crevice, and using a natural product and dusting and all that, versus using a chemical-only approach where you go in and you treat everything crack and crevice, you do no heat, no steam, nothing. Or whether you take in and you install heaters. The cost to the client is about the same. It still comes out to realistically, about $600 a bedroom. When you factor in that with chemical only, you got to make 3 trips. With chemical steam, and you got to make still 2 to 3 trips. And with heaters, you do 1 trip, but the setup cost and the entire day of doing that for 8 hours of heating a room still comes out to about the same. The cost is in the time that it takes to do it. And those that have the knowledge, and here's what's happening in the bed bug world, is that bed bug work has declined some. And the reasoning is a lot of people jumped in, realized how hard it was, and then jumped out and said, we're not doing it anymore. People that jumped in were doing everything, doing apartments and doing multi-unit and hotels and doing this. And what's happened is a lot of them are saying, we're just going to focus on single family home residential bed bug. because we can't really deal with all the problems that apartments have. The hoarding, the not reporting it, the management not understanding what it costs, the cheap job you have to do to get the contracts because it comes down to who's the lowest price. In hotels, you got to go in with dogs. You got to go in at midnight. I mean, it's a challenge to do bedbug. It's very costly. You know what it costs to get a bedbug dog to do the sniffing? I mean, $10,000, $15,000 to prep one of those dogs, to train them. It isn't cheap. It's very, very, very expensive to do bedbug work. And there's, the guy that goes in there and I see him they're charging me $65 to do bedbug. For the entire apartment, yeah, $65. They're coming in and spraying. They're baseboards, and they've been baseboard spraying for 6 months, and the people are still getting bitten. Those are the people that are going to take a product like this and mess it up for everybody. Because now they're going to say, yes, we have a product we can apply on the mattress. We can apply it here. We can apply it anywhere. And the bedbug is going to take it back with them. And we're going to annihilate this. And the cost of bedbug services are going to drop. They're going to drop with this product. Second, if you were the guy that invested $20,000, $30,000 in bedbug heaters, you might have to eat them. Because if this thing works the way everybody is saying it works, bedbug heating is out of business. We're going to look at this. Let's look at the research of what these guys have done. These guys are not newbies at this. These guys have vast experience in creating. The researchers that worked on this were part of a huge team. They've been designing biopesticides for 30 years. Okay. Both were part of a multinational team that created Green Muscle and Green Guard. It's a bioinsecticide. Now, Green Muscle and Green Guard were bioinsecticides to control locusts, grasshoppers in Africa and Australia, that are decimating fields. And the thing with what you got to understand about fields is these products have to work very quickly. A farmer can't afford to lose his crops if the biopesticide or any pesticide takes forever to control the pest. This is what people don't understand, that you need quick control. Because an entire crop if you lose an entire crop, you might just go bankrupt. So these guys have had extensive knowledge in working with this. What they were trying to do is create a biopesticide that would control mosquitoes and flies. And if they figured out they can control mosquitoes and flies. Now, when we talk about a biopesticide, people will freak out, biological warfare, and understand that we've been using biopesticides forever. Bacillus BTI for mosquito control, the mosquito dunks, is a biopesticide. That stuff will kill the larvae. The bacteria attacks the larvae, but it doesn't attack people. In the case of, you got bacillus and you have, dozens other spinosad, which is another common, use, product for control of larvae, in, certain types of, larvae of moths, in certain caterpillars, in ornamentals. But it's very tough to use because the problem is with that these are biopesticides, are live active bacteria, and if you take this bacteria and you expose it sometimes to heat or extreme heat, what happens is you destroy it, you kill it. So products that are outside in the environment have a very short life because they will die shortly after. So those are the challenges that we have with using biopesticides and ornamentals. And people would love for us to use it, and the government would love for us to use it, and and not have to use pesticide. The problem is, if you have a commercial route, trying to apply spinosad in a garden to control some type of caterpillar that's destroying your plants, you have to apply it at 6 o'clock in the morning before it's sunrise, and you have a short window. So soon after the sun comes up and hits it, it kills it. It's not economically viable to try to do a business with biologicals. We tried. It's very difficult. So what they did is they said, well, hey, why don't we try it on bedbugs and see what happens? And voila, it kills bedbugs. So that's basically the short story of how this research came about. to doing. The biopesticide is I think it's pronounced Beauveria bassiana, which is the indigenous fungus. That's really what it is. It's not a fungus, but it's harmless to humans. It will destroy insects. And they found that they could kill the bedbug within 4 to 7 days. This is a game changer in the industry, because normally you have to wait 2 weeks and people are still getting bitten. And then what people will do is they will sleep in other rooms, and then the bedbugs will just move there because they're not sleeping in their bed. And it's just a whole issue that is hard to do with people. If I sleep in my bed tonight after you do the service, will I still have bedbugs biting me? And the answer is yes. You can't tell people, no, you're not going to get bitten if you did a chemical service on their bed. But the idea is that as they're walking across all this product, as they're walking into the product, that they're going to get exposed to the chemical, and then after they walk back to their nest, their nesting site or whatever, behind a wall or wherever they are, that they're going to die. So then 2 weeks later, you got to come and do a follow-up. And then you do an inspection and you see if you find some live bed bugs or people are still getting bitten after 2 weeks. Then you might have to do another chemical application. With this cuts it down really quickly, 4 to 7 days. So people's lives are enriched. When bed bugs walk across the spray surface, they'll pick up the spores. And because they groom themselves, then what happens is it gets transferred, and then it germinates and colonizes the body in about 20 hours after exposure. Okay, so that's the word. The product is called Aprehend. It is available. There's a link here, so you can link to the website. It's called Aprehend. And, that is what we're looking at. And what I love about this, guys, is that a lot of people the people that need bedbug service most are really the apartment people, the poorest in our society, that nobody's paying for these services because of the cost of doing it. They can't afford it. And I know what a lot of people's attitudes is, and it's a little indignating to me. I don't know if that's the right word. I get indignated by this because I hear people all the time, well, if they're poor, their reason they're poor, and we're not going to do it at that cost because it costs what it costs, and let them continue to get bitten for being poor. And then you got slumlords who don't take care of their tenants, and these people are suffering. And for something like this to come along in the market that reduces the cost of this service dramatically, because you don't have to put in the hours anymore to charge for it. You can still make a decent profit at a much lower cost, probably about, 60 to 80% less cost to people that can least afford it. Those are the people that can, those are the ones that are having the most problem. Those are the ones that the industry doesn't want to serve because nobody's willing to pay for it. And I don't blame you for not doing it. I'm just telling you that this is going to be, if this product really works the way it is, there's a whole lot of people that are just going to be scrambling this industry to figure out what they're going to do. Because what I'm afraid of, the other side of this coin that I'm afraid of, is the spray and pray guys are now just going to say, all we have to do is spray the whole house down, and that's it. And problem solved, and they're in and out of there in 15 minutes. And that's going to create another problem for our industry. But then again, this is part of being in this industry, and this is part of what we do. And we just have to step up with knowledge, step up with understanding, educate our clients, and move forward. And so I'm really excited for the product, but then again, everything that it gets created creates a problem for somebody else. So I believe this is going to be a disruptive technology for the pest control industry. Hey, this is all I have for you today, guys. So I will see you again.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.